stipulations in some places. If if you can't reproduce, then it's okay. So would two gay first cousins be able to marry? Here's another one for you. Would it be legal for twin gay people to marry? Two guys that are twins or two girls that are twins, could they? And they're gay or lesbian. Could they marry each other? Well, it would appear that there really is no law against it for them. So they're able to do certain things that straight couples cannot do. I bet you they never saw that coming. That's some. Look, I know some people are probably now sitting back, scratching their heads and thinking, "Wow, we never thought of that." I am glad and happy to get you to think about such things on a more logical basis and level, because trust me, those who want to do our culture harm or totally change our culture are thinking about these things. And at least now when they bring this up, you will not be caught off guard, because you will have listened to this program and I will have, to some degree, enlightened you, quote unquote, to the tools in which they're going to try, or the weapons that they're going to try to use to force their debaucherous ways on us. So, just looking at some of those, in Wisconsin, if both of you are 50 or older in Illinois or one is unable to produce, well, if you're gay, you can't reproduce, obviously. So, obviously two guys can't reproduce and two women can't reproduce. So, I guess that means that they would be able to get married at the age of 20 instead of 50. I don't. Will there be that same taboo for homosexual family members getting together and consummating versus straight? Because you would like to think, but hey, who knows? Here's something for you. Maine's governor, LePage. Paul LePage, he's a Republican governor. I got to tell you, there's some stuff going on over there. Well, it's not up there. It's over there in Maine that has me just scratching my head. And the guy's a Republican. I don't know if this is possible. I don't know how you do this. I don't know. Well, let me just go to the story. It is from BangorDailyNews.com. LePage attempts to pocket veto a bunch of bills. Why? Because the governor, Paul LePage, forgot to veto 18 bills. I don't know how you forget to veto a bill when it gets. Well, here's the story. Augusta, Maine. Governor Paul LePage has thrown a new wrench into the gears of the legislature, this time with a move to pocket veto at least 19 bills, despite the fact that conditions for such a maneuver have not been met. Now, on Tuesday, the state's reviser of statutes, Susan Gresser, confirmed 19 bills had not been returned to her office by LePage after the 10-day time frame for LePage to veto or sign the legislation had passed. Now, without having taken any action, the bill should have returned to Gresser to be chaptered, the official process for becoming law. Now, when asked about the delay, LePage spokeswoman Adrienne Bennett pointed to a section from Maine's Path of Legislation, a publication by the clerk of the House and secretary of the Senate, which outlined the process of the pocket veto. If a legislature in session and the governor does not sign a bill or veto it within 10 days of receiving it, the bill becomes law. But if the legislature adjourns for the year before the 10-day window for a governor to act on legislation has elapsed and the governor does not sign the bill, it dies. Now, I'm surprised the legislator does not understand this, Bennett said. That's the pocket veto, and it apparently is what LePage is trying to do with these bills, kill them without giving the legislature a chance to override his veto. So he's trying, he's playing, well, I guess he's really trying to set up the He's playing the game. Now, I'm not in Maine. I don't live in Maine. I don't even pretend to live in Maine. I don't even play a character on TV who lives in Maine. So I can't really tell you about what Maine's laws are on that. But here's the dealio. The only hang up with this is the legislature has not adjourned. Knowing it needed to give LePage up to 10 days to act on bills it has passed, the House and Senate on June 30 went at ease until July 16th. By then, LePage would have had to act. Further questions sent to Bennett about LePage's actions were not answered. Now, I don't know what at ease means. I don't know. Now, see, I don't know if you can extend your session just to thwart the governor that way. I don't. But can you see how they're all playing the game here instead of just going ahead and doing stuff? Well, I guess because LePage fears that they're going to override his veto. Well, then that's on them. That is on them. Now, House Majority Leader Jeff McCabe, who's a Democrat, was dumbfounded by LePage's maneuver. As I read it, I don't fully understand it either. But look, I'm not saying that LePage needs to play fair, because all is fair in love, war, and politics. But he needs to play by the rules. He needs to play by the law. At the same time, so does the legislature. I don't know if evidently that whatever the at ease ruling is that I guess the now I would assume that they could probably go at ease for as long as they wanted then, but that doesn't seem to be right either. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that one, but there is some, the 19 bills, I guess. So I guess that's what they say, that LePage forgot to sign or veto some bills. Evidently, he didn't forget. He's just trying to play the game of, legislature has gone into. They got his number though. We're not into recess. No, we're not recessing. We're at ease. We're standing like the military thing. Attention. No, we're at ease. But there is one thing that LePage did get. He nailed this one though. However, this new bill, which will become law, but not until October. But Maine has become the 5th state in the nation to pass constitutional carry. Now, I know they're trying that here in the state of New Hampshire. So I think there's going to be, in our Democratic governor, she said she's against it. But since Maine has passed it, there's going to be a little bit more pressure for her to do the same thing here in New Hampshire. But Maine will allow what is the constitutional carry idea or law or system? Well, it allows legal gun owners, anybody who's legally able to own a gun, to carry a concealed weapon without a permit. Now, this is a practice that's called constitutional carry by Second Amendment advocates. Now, under a bill signed into law earlier this week by Governor Paul LePage, this law will go into effect in October in that state, where as long as you are legally capable of obtaining and having and owning a firearm, you can conceal it without conceal carry without needing a license or permit. Now, this measure makes Maine the fifth state to pass a law legalizing the carry of a handgun, either openly or concealed, without the requirement of a government permit. Now, here in New Hampshire, you can open carry without a permit. If you're same thing. If you're legally capable of obtaining and owning a firearm, you can open carry. But for some reason, if you want to take that gun and keep people from being shocked from seeing a weapon, and you want to put it under your jacket, well, now you need a permit to do that. And there are a lot of people, rightfully so, saying that makes no sense. What good is open carry? I mean, the only thing open carry does is get you harassed by the cops. Believe it or not, that's exactly what they do, because, and here's the problem with that. In this state, the cops cannot stop you and ask you for identification. Believe it or not, it is, the law is open carry. You do not have to, there is no license for you to produce. So a cop cannot stop you and say, well, let me see your papers. There are no papers. So there's nothing that they can do to you. Some people say, well, they can run your name, your identity. No, you haven't broken a law. You haven't been suspected of breaking a law. So they cannot just roll up on you and start randomly saying, well, you got a gun. We want to run your your ID. See if there's any warrants. They can't do. That's illegal. They try it. They do try it, but most of these people who open carry in this state, and there are not a lot of people who do, but most of them that do, they are fully aware and know their rights, and most of them, and sometimes they'll stop and engage the cop and they'll film it, the engagement. But most of them simply say, sorry, there is no legal reason for you to be stopped detaining me. Am I free? Am I being detained? And the cop has to say no, and they walk away, just ending the whole conversation. That's what normally happens in this state. But in order to prevent that type of harassment and to prevent people, the general public from having a conniption and saying, "Oh my God, there's a guy carrying a gun and he's not a cop," and calling 911, they want to put it under their coat. But in order to do that, now you have to have a permit. Well, it would seem to me that you should have a permit in order to open carry, but if there's going to be a permit process at all, but that would be something that would be akin to logic, I guess. And even sometimes in this state, we have a little bit of trouble with logic. I get it, but in Maine, they'll be joining Alaska, Arizona, Wyoming, and Kansas in voting to allow this practice, the constitutional carry practice, according to the NRA, National Rifle Association. Now, Vermont, however, has never required a permit. Arkansas and Montana also allow more limited forms of constitutional carry. So Vermont, basically you don't have to have a permit of any kind for any weapons in Vermont. You can have a rifle in your the old cowboy rifle in the pickup truck type of thing. Excuse me. I have seen just that, a gun rack in a pickup truck with Vermont plates in Vermont. Most of them don't have the rifle in there, but some have had the rifle. So, and that is fully and totally legal in Vermont. And now Vermont does some other stupid stuff, but when it comes to firearms, they're not very liberal about firearms at all. They're very conservative and believe in the constitutional right to carry arms. Now they'll trample on your constitutional rights in Vermont in other ways, but not when it comes to your firearm. Now, I don't know. Maybe I guess you can't take away a gun from the old Green Mountain Boys. You're not gonna. That would be like going down to Tennessee or someplace and saying that the Hatfield McCoys, they're not allowed to have rifles anymore. That wouldn't go over very well. I don't think they would really succeed in doing that. But Maine, LePage has obviously got it across to the Maine legislature, which is mostly Democratic, and that's pretty much a Democratic state right now in Maine. A very conservative type of thing. So you can now carry without a permit come October.